Hello and welcome back to this brand new video. Today we'll look at the trading performance of the best traders of the month and determine the winner of the November edition. I anticipate that this has been an exceptional month because we have received many statements, all of which are remarkable with really great performances. It was also difficult, I have to tell you honestly, for Unger and me to choose the winner because you all did a great job, so congratulations. We won't only see the statements, we'll also try to give you some valuable tips for your live trading. I want to remind you that the Trader of the Month contest is reserved for Unger Academy students. Thanks to this contest, they can participate every month by submitting their live results and competing to win a €1,000 Amazon voucher. One of the coaches at Unger Academy here. Now let's skip the preamble and start with the first statement, which was sent to us by Alessandro. And we get off to a great start with a performance of 32.46% increase, a nice equity line. Most importantly, it's also very smooth. But the most exciting thing about Alessandro's statement is the drawdown, which is really ridiculous and amounts only to just minus 1%. So congratulations, Alessandro, you've done really well. You've earned €2,551, which is a sign that even with accounts that aren't too capitalized, you can have a really interesting performance that you can be happy with. Alessandro has mainly worked with micro futures. I also see an option in the portfolio, but it has contributed relatively little to the overall performance. Congratulations again, Alessandro. You've done an excellent job. Now let's move on to Paolo's statement. We're starting to see some outstanding performances. Paolo made 57.93% increase in November with a drawdown of 6.58%, which I would call small in relation to the performance. In absolute terms, Paolo earned €20,477 with a very steady equity line that grew past the middle of the month, then dropped slightly before recovering at the end of the month. It's a really good result. I'd like you to notice the sharp ratio of 9.79, and as luck would have it, we also find here among the top performers the mini Nasdaq with a contribution of, I would say, 26% to the overall result. This is a sign that last month's bull market has helped many of our traders, and we know that among the various micro futures traded, the mini Nasdaq is one of the most used. So, kudos to Paolo, as such achievements aren't commonplace, but very rare indeed. And at this point the question arises, if Paolo, with almost 58% increase, didn't win, who won the contest this month? Here he is, it's Daniele, with an incredible 84.62% and a drawdown of 6.32%, which is more than proportional to the performance, and a really, really lovely equity line up to the middle of the month. He would probably have tripled his trading account if he had continued like this. The equity line then stayed almost unchanged until the end of the month, when it had another, let's say, uptrend of about 10% or so. We again find the mini Nasdaq among the top performers with a 36% contribution and a sharp ratio of 8.4. What else to say? This performance speaks for itself. I don't have much more to add except to congratulate Daniele, who won this month's competition. Interestingly, I can share a bit about Daniele's experience, who was kind enough to answer some of my questions. Daniele has been studying at Unger Academy for about 3 years, but he's only been live since the end of 2022. Why is that? Because Daniele is an executive. He's very busy and started studying in a serious way in 2022. Before that, Daniele was already a discretionary trader and also achieved some satisfactory results. However, he had to automate his trading because of his job, which is pretty demanding. Depending on the month, he works with a portfolio of 25 to 40 strategies. He uses the Unger method to create his systems, but also uses a proprietary indicator that aims to detect the trend. This is his way of trading, which is focused on following the trends, and he applies this approach to trading systems as well. His indicator is a kind of price channel that helps him recognize the underlying market trend. He also uses the $1 Million database, a collection of already coded strategies that we make available to all the students free of charge, which helps them diversify their portfolios. He works mainly with breakout trades. He also has some bias systems that take advantage of the seasonalities of the markets. However, he doesn't yet have a mean reverting system in his portfolio, but of course, he plans to develop one. He confesses to me that he has, let's say, some difficulties in approaching this kind of trading approach. We also talked about mean reverting systems, which are certainly a bit more complicated to use from a psychological standpoint, especially for beginners, precisely because you are working against the underlying trend, and the systems often go in against the trend when maybe everything moves down simultaneously. So from a psychological perspective, it isn't a wrong choice to start with a breakout or bias system. The instruments used are mainly micro futures, mainly on the Nasdaq, S&P 500, and DAX stock indexes, and some systems on crude oil. Live performances are satisfactory, although he confessed they are a bit unstable. However, the beginning was difficult with many mistakes, so his advice was not to get discouraged. In particular, he told me that he has developed systems with buggy sessions that he has yet to get his hands on. So it's expected that you will make mistakes in the first phase of live trading, but the most important thing is not to let these mistakes get you down, because everything can be overcome, as Daniele later proved with the facts. Here are the next steps: the development of new systems. Of course, we know that trading is a profession that needs to keep updated, in the sense that we're always looking for new systems to add to our portfolio. Daniele's not using Titan yet, as he's still able to manage his systems manually. However, as the portfolio grows, thinking about managing it successfully without an automated software that gives us advice on which systems to activate and deactivate for the next month becomes practically impossible. In addition, he'd also like to delve deeper into cryptocurrencies and volatility. As advice for those approaching trading for the first time, the first thing Daniele told me was a lot of commitment to study, and that really suits his mindset. Pay attention to the trading infrastructure, and he pointed out to me that new students are definitely at an advantage now because they have an infrastructure that's already fully configured by us. Start slowly with a reasonable portfolio, but go live immediately. So don't use paper trading, because we know there are significant differences between real trading and simulated trading from a psychological perspective. Thank you, Daniele, for your availability and advice, and congratulations again on your achievement. You won the November contest and an Amazon voucher worth €1,000. Well, it's now your turn. How would you like to have performances like the ones we've seen, and maybe even win an Amazon voucher worth €1,000? Take part in this contest. Click on the link below, which will take you to a page where you will find the contest rules. From there, if you wish, you can book a free consultation with one of our tutors who will give you all the information that you need. That's it for this month, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next video.